Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel. If you watched my video earlier this year about my 90-day habits and goals, you know I had big plans to turn a lot of things around for my life here. And at the time, I was really excited about it. I had my goals written out in detail. I had my day structured daily, like from the moment I woke up to when I went to bed. And in the beginning, the first few weeks, it went really good. Like it was going great, to be honest. My mornings, I was waking up on time, starting early, getting my Bible study in, reading my Bible and having my coffee, walking the dogs for their walks, making sure I was showered and getting dressed and doing, my hair and makeup and whatnot, and going out and trying different coffee shops and doing my job. And then in the evenings, I was practicing the keyboard and I was, on that Skillshare and I was learning how to read music and um, play the keyboard. And then I was going to the library and getting books and reading books. And my whole schedule was going really well. And it felt really good. Like I was on track. Like I was, you know, getting on board, with these habits and whatnot. But a couple of weeks in, everything changed. Now, I was offered a promotion at work, and it wasn't a huge raise, but it was a raise. So it was a salary position. I was going to be a supervisor. I was going to have more responsibility and a bigger title, um, and a raise. But even though, I did have some hesitation, I really liked my work-life balance prior to this new position that was offered to me, this new supervisor role. I really liked my work-life balance before. I never particularly, well, not in the last couple of years, was on some sort of a career track, climbing some sort of corporate ladder. That just wasn't my interest in the last couple of years. But one of my goals, if you remember, one of my goals was to increase my income, particularly, I think I wanted to double my income by the end of this year. So I thought, okay, I wasn't really interested in being a supervisor necessarily, but I could do the job. I like a challenge, and it came with a little bit of a raise. So I accepted the job. I accepted the promotion. And honestly, and also like not trying to be too dramatic here, but that turned out to be one of the worst decisions I've made in a really long time. Um, Going against my gut, my intuition, and just taking the job for the money. And honestly, again, not to be too dramatic, but it ended up changing the entire course of this year. So this company I worked for, I don't want to get in the weeds of the details of it all, but they've always been dysfunctional. But in this new role, I realized just how toxic it was. And I know it can be hard to explain for folks who are not necessarily in a corporate world. But I went from working 8 hours a day, just a regular job, clock in, go for your lunch, clock out, to now being on this salary supervisor role and working 12, 14-hour days, sometimes 16-hour days, plus the weekends. And of course, there's no overtime because I was salary now, and this was just the expectation. But then it was also like, well, nobody ever asked you to work that much, but yet we have deadlines and purposely being understaffed. And anyway, basically, it started to unravel everything else in my life, right? This new job, this new position, everything else I had been wanting to work towards, and these habits and goals that I had started to work towards, this position single-handedly took away all of that. There was no more time for Bible study. I didn't have time to walk the dogs. I wasn't cooking or even like eating right. I would just be ordering Uber Eats at random when I was like finally hungry, like realizing, oh, I need to get up from my work and eat. I stopped playing the keyboard. I stopped reading books. I stopped going to the coffee shops in the morning. I wasn't getting dressed for the day. Like I literally was working and sleeping and working and sleeping, and there was no time for anything else on either end. And I was exhausted. I was really exhausted. And I realized this quote unquote promotion, this pursuit of money, has literally derailed every other goal that I had set for this year. By mid-March, I was burned out, not because I couldn't handle the work. I'm a really good worker. I'm a really hard worker. It's important to me to do a good job. And but it was unsustainable. It was unsustainable. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm capable of working hard. And maybe, I don't need to preface that, but I feel like it's easy for, I don't know, it's easy to judge and it's easy to say, like, why couldn't you hack it? It was just a corporate job. All you're doing is emailing. And that's why I say too, like, maybe it's hard to understand unless you also have worked a corporate job and you understand it's a lot more than just emailing, I guess. And it's more so, I don't know. Anyway, the issue wasn't that I wasn't capable of working hard or hanging in there or getting the job done. The company expected us salaried supervisors to be doing all of the work that really should have been divided amongst multiple people. The company, sorry, like I had said earlier, was purposely understaffed. So they were purposely understaffing, and wouldn't we weren't allowed to hire even when we previously had people hired in those positions. And if somebody quit or moved on or whatever, we couldn't backfill that position. There was these fake deadlines and like false sense of urgencies. Like, we have to transition to this new platform by this date. The day after you're trained, you're in the new program by tomorrow. And then it turns out like, no, there is no sense of urgency. And actually, those dates were just made up and we have another year. So, like, why create that kind of stress? There was no training. There was no training ever on anything. And it was so just this constant pressure, no regard for people actually doing the work. Nobody actually wanted to solve any problems or do things better, for those that are actually doing the job and actually involved. And in a way, the company, in a sense, I was saying uh, to a friend or whatnot, was it's basically these venture capitalists have been playing volleyball with our company and group of companies for the last almost 6 years I've been at this company. And I just truly, it didn't necessarily matter to me so much because I just was doing my regular job before. But again, now being in the supervisor role, it just was, I was too close to the fire, too close to the sun, and I was getting burned. And I wasn't interested in that. So anyway, by the end of March, I had to face the truth, right? This job was not worth sacrificing my health, my peace, or my purpose. I tried to work something out and I offered several solutions to my manager and her manager and to HR. And I was super interested in collaborating. I wasn't interested in just quitting my job. I wanted to collaborate and work together. And so I offered several options of solutions and things that I thought we could consider. One of those was paying me a fair salary for the work that was expected of me and that I was doing. Let me step down. Like, I wasn't trying to be a supervisor. I was asked to do this. Could I just step down into my old role or explore some other sort of different, more sustainable role? I wasn't opposed to helping and being in a supervisory role, but my reach was so limited. And I thought, well, maybe if I had a greater reach, I could have greater impact, and collaborate between different branches and teams across the nation and not just so limited with my scope. But basically, I was told, plainly, no, there are no options. We don't authorize you to step down. Your old position is no longer available. We're not hiring for it. We never filled it. We're not having that position. There's no alternate path. So it's basically like, just keep doing what you're doing or you can quit. And that's when I knew something had to give. So on April 1st, and yeah, no April Fool's jokes here, I quit my job. My husband and I had a lot of conversation leading up to this decision, and we realized that it's time for me to step away from this job and step fully into homemaking and just let my husband provide for us financially. We came to this deeper understanding, I'd say, that God didn't design me as a woman to sit in front of a desk for 16 hours a day in a toxic corporate work environment while neglecting my marriage, my animals. You know, we have 4 dogs and a cat and a bearded dragon, my home, my own health, mental, physical health. That's not what I was created for. So, yes, I started strong on my 90-day, habits and goals and routines. Um, to change my life, right? I had beautiful intentions. I truly did. I think if you watched that last video, even though I'm a rambler and I talk a lot, I think you could really tell, like, yeah, I really did have some big goals and big ideas. And some of it is even super small, but I had good intentions with it. And I really wanted to build my character and be a better person all around. But this pursuit of money completely took over and it cost me everything else. So I'm still going to do a full video about quitting my job. I'm sorry, I know I can't help but kind of like ramble and get into it because it's still so crazy to me how that all came about in just such a short couple of months, even after having been with the company for going on almost 6 years, 5.5 years. But I wanted to create this video first because it felt important for me to come back and share where I've been. I had fully intended on doing weekly update videos of my progress and my goals and whatnot, and I just was not able to do that. This promotion, this job just really took every minute of my day. And even when I wasn't working, when I'd wake up, when I'd go to lay down, I was still thinking about my job. It just totally took over. But now I'm entering into a new season and I'm surrendering. I'm surrendering to the Lord, surrendering to my husband's provision, surrendering my need to prove myself through productivity. We're going to we're learning that. I'm learning how to slow down, how to trust in the Lord's provision, and Him guiding my husband, how to honor my husband by being a peaceful and joyful homemaker and housewife, how to steward our home, care for our animals, and hopefully, God willing, prepare for motherhood one day. If you're in a similar season, you're chasing productivity at the cost of peace, or you're chasing money at the cost of your own health, that you feel encouraged by this video. Money does matter, right? But it's not worth losing the rest of your life and every other aspect of your life for. So I hope this video reminds you that you're allowed to change direction. It's okay to pivot. It's okay to let go. It's okay to rest. And you're allowed to choose peace. We were never made to do this in our own strength. Thank you for being here. I hope you'll stick around as I continue to share what life looks like now, one day at a time. And may God bless you today and always. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.